Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Sneak Peek into the Language of Sales Lab, with your MAPS coaches, Kara Moll and Ron Wexler. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you'll automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching program, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. All right, that's it for me. Team, go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Jasmine, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. You know, the fact that you're here speaks volumes about three things. One, your understanding that sales is the art of communication, and that when you increase your ability to effectively communicate, your sales naturally increase. Two, your presence illustrates the commitment you have to yourself, your clients, and those in your world. And three, you're really curious about the Language of Sales Lab and how you can help shape the future of the program. That being said, you're realizing with each passing day that you have the ability to dramatically impact those in your presence and leave them with more power because of your relationship. Our intention in being with you during our time together today is to create an experience that causes you to commit at the highest level to mastering language, allowing you to impact lives and close more transactions. My name is Kara Moll, and in addition to being a top real estate agent in Chicagoland, I'm a market center investor, a MAPS agent and transformational coach, a master practitioner of neurolinguistic programming, and an IPEC IFC coaching candidate. And I have the honor of being the co-facilitator of the MAPS Language of Sales with my longtime colleague and, more importantly, my friend, Ron Wexler. True story, guys. Ron and I have known each other for over 30 years. Ron, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Not only have we known each other for over 30 years, but neither one of us is over 40 years old. So that's a really good trick.
It's awesome.
So my name is Ron Wexler, and I am the co-facilitator of this Language of Sales program with the amazing Kara Moll. I'm an OP, a mega agent, and a MAPS coach, and have had just about every role you can have in the KW world over the last 15 years at KW. I've been in real estate over 35 years, so having lots of fun selling a couple hundred houses a year. I have an incredible team, love selling real estate, and love the language of sales. I was just going to share real quick. I was introduced to the language of sales over 20 years ago now, and when I was introduced to it, it was a 6-month course that had an hour a day of homework, 5 hours a week of homework. And it was so effective for me and made such a massive difference in my business that I took it 18 straight months. I actually re-enrolled 2 times after the initial one, and it made such a giant business or a difference in my business and my conversion dealing with buyers and sellers. So just to share, it's an incredible course, and you are going to love it. And I just, this little test of it is going to give you a lot of information. I think you'll like it. So before we start and you choose to actively engage in the time we have together, I want to share that we believe that just this call today will have an immediate impact on your future, your income, and in your everyday life. So our goal for this short workshop, I'm doing slides here too, so if it goes a little slow, you know why. Our goal for this short workshop is for you to walk away with something you can actually use like immediately, today, right now, and get a feel for the value of really getting into the language of sales. So you're going to evaluate your language skills. You're going to enroll in the lab that begins a week from today. And while we're on the phone with this group of agents, team leaders, coaches, talking about an incredible program created by MAPS, we know that you automatically want to improve your skills, right? Our time here today is going to be interactive. And as part of that, we have the question box up. So if you have questions, we found in the past that opening up the actual verbal cue box creates all kinds of fun and excitement. So we are going to use the question box. So if you have any questions, just put them in the box. One of us will respond as quick as we can. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to focus and think. Pay attention to what we're talking about, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Get uncomfortable. That's where the growth really begins. So by being here, you're investing an hour in yourself, right? And in a program that we offer. And frankly, we're excited to work with you in an area that's just been a passion of both of ours. So just imagine what will happen to your business when you have the ability to understand, connect with, and influence your prospects and clients in ways that you're not even aware of right now. In fact, let's use the question box to share your thoughts. Just tell us real quickly, what are you thinking right now, just based on what you've heard me say already? Just curious. There's no wrong answer. What are you thinking about
I love
right
when
now?
they share these answers. I love when they share these answers, Ron, about what could happen. I know.
Right? What will happen in your business when you can, what happens when your conversion rate doubles? What happens when you go on listing appointments and they sign a listing at a great commission for a long period of time and at your price? What happens in your family when you go home and talk about what's going on and communicate with your family? What happens for your vacations? What happens for your toys? What happens for your giving? What does it all look like when things get better?
So, Ron, here's what's really cool. I'm looking at the box, and there's a word that's come up quite a bit, and it's focus. And we all know from BOLD, what we focus on expands, right? And people are talking about how they would have a more focused business. It would be a focus on improving their business, and improving their skills means improving my business. They would get uncomfortable, and then that's when growth really begins. And there's a lot, I could go home and relax. Think of that. Someone's actually saying that by engaging in this program that they could actually live a life by design. They could actually have some downtime. Do you see anything else there, Ron?
I mean, I just love, that people are just saying, just being able to create huge results. And I see the word results like 3 times also, right? Extraordinary results that help in all areas of my life. It'll aid in my career and my life. I can go home and relax, right? You can have a real life, somebody said. And that's ultimately, to me, it was always about, how productive. I don't want to work more and more and more hours. I want to be more productive in the hours that I work. And that's what it always was about, because I don't know if I ever shared this one with you, Kara. I'm going to go a little bit off the script for a second, but
sure.
I was coaching an agent, and they were doing about 150 transactions. And I said, how many hours were you working a week when you're doing 70 to 75 transactions? And she said 30 to 40, right? Which was pretty good. I mean, she was pretty fast, pretty agile, right? And if she told me 30 to 40, she was probably working 50. I said, how many hours are you working now? And she said, 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day. And she's like, not exaggerating. I'm working 24/7. I said, so you're actually making the same amount of money you did when you were doing 75 transactions. Your per hour is exactly the same. You're making twice as much money and working twice as many hours. For me, it was just the opposite. The one year when I really learned to be incredible at scripts, I made 12,000 live contacts. I mean, actual human contacts on the phone, 12,000 people, and sold 120 houses. And I was honing my skills. I was getting great at language of sales. I was getting great at communicating and converting and everything else. The next year, I made 4,500 contacts, and I closed 130 transactions.
Wait,
I
so
literally
a third
cut
of the
my
contacts,
time.
Ron.
Yeah.
Right, a third of the contacts, and that. I got a question. That agent wasn't me, was it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I just
okay. Just
someone said have
sure.
a real life, right? That's the real life.
Oh,
that is our goal for the people that we are in business with and that we teach and we coach, right? That's always our goal. We want you to make the most per hour that you put in that's possible. That is ultimately the goal we have.
And that is so exciting, Ron. And one more thing to add to that, for those of you who are here and those that are going to choose to enroll in the program with us, the one thing you're going to find out is Ron and I are super passionate about helping people live their best life, and we want to have fun while we're on these calls. We don't want these to be some stoic call. We want it to be where you're learning and you're having fun. So before we really get rolling, write that down. You see it on the screen right there, mapslos.com. LOS stands for Language of Sales. It's where you can go to register for the MAPS Language of Sales Lab. And stay tuned, because at the end of the call, we're going to give you a promo code for a discount as a thank you for joining us today. So in preparing for today, Ron and I got together and we shared our thoughts on how the average agent thinks. Here's what we came up with. They're probably doing things the hard way. I mean, Ron just gave a great example of that. They think that they have to be a hard closer. Oh, got to be in their face. They have to be super salesy, and that things can't come easily. Here's the great news. When you say the right thing in the right way at the right time, life will be easy and people will easily move forward with great decisions. It's that simple.
So it is that simple. And what we're going to ask today is that you play full out, right? Just take this 1 hour, turn off whatever distractions are around you right now. Focus on your screen, focus on what we're saying. Stay here with us fully engaged for 1 hour, probably a little less than that, but about an hour, and see what you get out of this. We're going to focus on how to connect instantly with every single person that you meet.
Exactly. So let's start by talking about the definition of rapport. You can see it on your screen. It's when two people have a good, synchronized, trusting, safe, connected relationship in which they're able to understand each other's needs, ideas, and feelings. That's how rapport is created. So in other words, when you're in good rapport with a client and they trust you, they do what you ask. They don't hesitate, to share information. They just trust you as a person. If you were just at, mega camp, Gary talked about how important it was to build your community. I mean, he's been talking about this now for 18 months. That's what building command and all the tools is about. It's about the support tools to help you build your community. Rapport helps you build your community. And the goal of rapport is to cause clients to feel comfortable with you and your recommendations, to take your career to the next level through relating to others easily. That's the key word, easily, to sell more homes in less time and with less resistance, and to cause others to act and share because they can relate and trust you. The ultimate goal is to live a better life because communication is just easier.
Right. So, naturally, the fact that you decided to join this session illustrates your belief that possessing an ability to influence will allow you to take your real estate career to the next level. Have you ever noticed that some people just naturally have others listen to them at a higher level than others? Those people who never met a stranger, they seem to be instant best friends with everyone that they meet. Does it seem like they're blessed with some secret power, right? It's like, they're using Jedi mind tricks and they have the Force.
I am the salesperson you're looking for.
Right?
That was my Yoda.
It's not magic. That was so, oh my God, I literally thought someone had turned on Star Wars in the background. It's not magic, right? It's not a superpower. Most likely, for most people, it's a trained communication technique, right? Like the things that you learn when you take the language of sales. Certain people know how to communicate with others in a way that causes them to feel good about making decisions and to be right about taking action. Think about this. Let's say that you run into one new person every week. And if you had the right language technique, that could be added to your data bank in Command. And with 52 weeks in a year, that would be 52 new people in your sphere of influence. And let's say that from those 52, 10%, only 10%, gave you a referral that actually closed. That would be 5 additional transactions. If your average commission is $5,000, that would be an additional $25,000 for the year just by adding one person a week. Do the numbers. 3 people a week would be 75,000 additional. If you had one per business day, right? 5 days a week. I know a lot of you are probably working 6 or 7, but 5 days a week. That would be an additional 125,000. And that's if you're only adding one a day and if you're only converting at a minimum rate of 10%. So just think about that. Think about your numbers. Just giving you a minute.
It's pretty wild, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, let that sink in. That's one person a day. Go back to the other one, Ron. Leave the impact one up.
You think I know how to go? You think I know how to go backwards?
That's okay. Leave it there. There we go. Yay. We know how to sell things. We don't know how to run PowerPoints, everyone. So just remember that.
I have people
part of the
for
excitement. So the difference between what you're netting on your current language skills and the language skills that you develop during the language of sales is what experts call lost income potential. Now you know why we really, really want you to focus on this call. Like, let's state one more thing that needs to be made clear. Using elevated language skills is not manipulation. The definition of manipulation is exerting shrewd or devious influence, especially for one's own advantage. We're not using our MAPS language of sales power for the dark side. You must become more effective in your language to make an impact on your listener and empower them to take action with you. And when you enroll in the Language of Sales Lab, we'll be coaching you through how to better connect with people in a way that causes them to act instead of procrastinate and causes them to choose you because you are a force for good and you desire to help them get what they want, not what you want. And can we just get a few yeses typed in the question box so that I know you're tracking with us? All right. Looks like we are great. Then let's move on. You guys are smart. Let's go.
So let's focus on instant rapport. That's the method we're going to share with you today. It's stolen right out of the language of sales and probably one of the best lessons. People love this lesson. So we're going to learn this one-click method of instant rapport building. Consider that even in this day of texting, emailing, social media, that you can still add a lot to your bottom line, making connections with the people you meet, just living your normal life, right? The people you meet at group activities, your kids' sports activities, your 7th level open houses, wherever you're going, even if you don't have much of a life because you're so enrolled in 7 days a week, 24 hours real estate, you're still bumping into human beings somewhere in there. So the method we're going to teach you works extremely well. And like most things in life, the more you use it, the better your results will be. So one other thing, you have to be comfortable being very uncomfortable when you first learn this. I promise you, very few people jump on this the very first time and find it easy. It's going to be a little out of your comfort zone. So it requires you to put aside your normal way of being, your automatic, natural communication style that you've used your entire life. It may feel unnatural at first. So you'll have to be okay with being a little humbled by doing something different from what you've always done, right? It's like switching hands with your toothbrush in the morning. It's going to feel a little odd. So think of it this way. The class is called the MAPS Language of Sales. Part of the course is learning a new language and language patterns and new ways to communicate. Think about the last time you learned a new language. I mean, I don't know about you, but it took me a lot of repetition, practice, and focus to learn and become good at communication and speaking and language. So I was willing to pay the price with language of sales because, for me, where I am now, right now at this moment in my life is rarely where I'm satisfied being. I'm willing to pay the price.
I hear you, Ron. So here we go. You meet someone and you want to initiate a real estate conversation. And we hear this all the time as coaches. I don't know, I feel uncomfortable. I don't know how to bring up real estate. So you meet someone, you want to initiate that real estate conversation, and your goal is to connect with the person you meet in a way that they like, remember, and feel connected to you. If they're not ready to buy or sell at this very moment, you want them at the very least to give them your contact have them give you their contact information. That's easy for me to say. Have them give you their contact information and get permission to keep in touch with all the great new tools that we have inside Command, right? The neighborhood snapshots and all of that. So let's start by telling you the what, and then we're going to talk about the how. We're going to build rapport by doing 3 things, and they're on your screen right now. Beck. We're going to pay close attention to their model of the world. That's first and foremost. Pay close attention to their model of the world. And that means, how do they see and do things, right? We're going to have respect and connect with them based on their model of the world. So we never want to make anyone wrong, right? We're paying attention to how they're operating in the world, and we're going to respect that and connect with them in their way. And we're going to follow until rapport is built, and then lead the conversation based on that strong connection. Now, that's a lot of technical stuff to say this. When you meet someone, instead of insisting on them liking you for who you are, you're going to be like them. People relate to people who are like them. They like people like them. They trust people like them, and they remember and enjoy the interaction with people who are just like them. So guess what you're going to do? Right, you're going to be just like them. Think about it. Have you ever met someone whose dialect was intensely different than yours? Maybe they dressed differently, or they spoke faster, or they're slower, or just different from you. Did you feel connected to them? Type your answer in the box. Not always. Some are a yes, a lot of them are no's. No, right, because they're different from you. And think about this. People who speak fast think people who speak slow are what? Go ahead and use the box. So people who speak fast think people who speak slow are what?
I love the
Right.
answer. Slow, lazy, boring. From the South. I hope that's someone from the North saying that.
Oh my gosh. As a coach, and I know you relate to this, Ron, too, as a coach who sees the good in everyone, it's very hard to read that list, right? Dumb, slow, unintelligent. Oh, and now this one. People who speak slow think people who speak fast are what? Go ahead and put those words in there. Touche, Lisa. From the North. She got you, Ron. Right. So, they think they're sneaky, they're untrustworthy, they're slick, they're, trying to sell them. Maybe they're stressed. Exactly. And either way, whatever it is, people are judging machines, and they're going to judge immediately that people speaking fast are trying to put something over on them. Well, your verbal and nonverbal communication are just like that too. People who are dressed to chill make instant judgments about people who are dressed to kill. Young people judge old people, and, well, I don't know. Old people, they just judge everybody, I guess. How would you like it if when you first met someone new, instead of reacting to you like a stranger, they actually felt right away that you were safe, or a friend, or someone that they were intensely interested in getting to know? What if they loved and even repeated the conversation they had with you? What if the line you were standing in moved and they followed you to the parking lot and were happy to have that communication continue because you're having such a great conversation? That is the goal of learning the language of sales. Whether it's on the phone or in person, we want to connect with people and have them love the conversation we shared with them.
So pay attention, right? This is it. First, you're going to pay attention to their model of the world. You bump into someone in line at the grocery store. You make eye contact. You smile. You make a comment about something you observe, right? So they have a child or two, a cart full of groceries with healthy food, or maybe party food, or hardly any groceries at all, right? Maybe they look as though they just came from the gym or from the office, or maybe their kid's soccer game, right? So you find something you can comment on, and you make a very neutral and safe comment. Now remember to breathe, right? We know we've been always programmed to not speak with strangers, even though the relationship could be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. So stay with me here. When they respond, you intensely pay attention to the way they speak, their tone, their rate of speech, their body language, and especially their facial expressions, right? So again, I know this is a lot, right? It's new. Remember, learning a new language is not easy. You already understand that once you learn it, though, it's yours forever. So no matter how they respond to your comment, you're going to listen intently like they are the most interesting person on the planet. And again, we're not faking it. For that moment in your life, they should be the most important person on the planet. You make your observations and you commit to respect and connect with them based on their model of the world. So now you're going to pay attention to any key words they may have used more than once when they responded, right? In Bold 2.0 and in language of sales, we call that keyword backtracking, right? So you have to learn the class to learn a bit more about what that is, but you're just going to pay attention to their keywords, okay? So before we go on, it's imperative that you pay really close attention to their model of the world. Here's how you do that. When they responded, were their eyes twinkling as if they were speaking of the greatest joy of their life? Were they frowning as if they were in pain just thinking of what you discussed? Did they look off into space and give nonverbal cues to what feelings your comment elicited in them? Did they look into the card at something in particular and make a certain face? So you've observed their behavior. Now you're going to follow their lead. You take on as much of their body language as possible. Are they slouching? Are they leaning? Do they have one foot on the lower part of the cart? Are they leaning in or are they leaning back? Are their arms crossed? Remember, you've been observing their way of being. Now you're going to follow as much of that way as possible. So you're going to then pick out something from your observation, something from the verbal and nonverbal cues, something from their bodily response, and you're going to put it together in your response. And you're going to stay there with them as they are as long as you have to until you feel connected to them. So you will know you're connected because you will then test the connection. When you're in rapport, first you follow, then you lead. We've all heard the saying that great leaders are great followers first. So you actually learn about others and how they are being and join them where they are in the world. And when you're in rapport, they will give you permission to lead.
That's so cool. And wait until you see this work in your life, guys. In fact, picture how you're already doing this. When you have a little child and they're emotional about something, you lower down to where they are, or you put on a sad face and you start with their tone, or maybe you talk with a different, cadence, which is actually you getting in rapport with them. And then you start talking in a happy manner and bring them out of it. It's truly that easy, and you're already doing it. So right now, you may have had one of two reactions to what we just shared. Either your inner voice said, no way, never, they will know, they're going to catch me, I can't do it, why should I? I'm smooth and people like me, when I'm just being me. I'm way too cool to do this stuff. Or maybe your reaction was, I can give it a go. The world's greatest communicators have used this method. Ron and Kara have coached hundreds of successful agents and sold thousands of homes. And, some of the greatest communicators ever are the ones who helped put this all together.
So does that just make you uncomfortable? That means you're getting it, and you're going to actually see how this all works, right? So as soon as you try, you'll see how powerful it is. You're going to have to practice it over and over and internalize it, just like learning any new language. You're going to do it with everyone, and you'll start to internalize it. So let's go back to the grocery store. You're in line. The person's dressed in sweats. They have a cart full of vegetables. They seem harried, exhausted, frustrated. They have 3 little kids hanging off of them, and the kids are totally out of control, right? We've all been in the line at the grocery store with those people, right, with those kids. You turn to them. You look them in the eyes. You take on a little of their body language and posture. You turn and say, wow, I'm impressed. you truly have your hands full. Now you're going to intensely pay attention to their body, their tone, and their response. They say, "Oh, you have no idea. It's 2 o'clock and we've been going since 8 a.m. I haven't had a chance to breathe. I mean, my kids are amazing, and today they've just been a handful. They're running around acting crazy. They are having fun. They really enjoy each other's company. I just want to get some food, good food into them, and I just can't wait to go home and just let them play in their own space." Now, often with someone with kids who may not have interacted with another adult for hours, they might have a really long-winded response, right? Like they just, a grown-up I can speak to. Don't interrupt them. Just look them in the eyes, mirror and match everything about them, right? Again, we're mirroring their body, we're mirroring their movement, everything else. Pay attention to the way they either light up or fade out when talking about whatever they decided to respond with. So now it's your turn to respond, right? Remember to use keyword backtracking. Use their words so you sound like them. So you might say something like this: "Watching you all, I was thinking those kids are amazing. They're high energy, but they are being nice and kind to each other. They really seem to enjoy each other's company." So you basically paraphrased what they had to say. Now here's the hard part. Stop talking. Just make that statement and leave it there. And so they might respond with, "Yes, it's wild keeping up with them." And then you might respond with, now here it is. Pay attention, right? You're in rapport. You've gone back and forth with them a few times. They were very comfortable just telling you, a little bit more about taking care and dealing with their children. You say, "I sell a lot of real estate in the area, and sometimes when we're out looking, I'll have a client with a crew like yours. And we're often looking for lots of space and big yards. Honestly, the kids are rarely that nice to each other. I've noticed sometimes the kids just wear the parents out." Now, again, just stop. Just give it a moment. They're going to almost always say, "Oh, you sell real estate? I wish I could buy a bigger house." Sometimes they might say, "We just bought a bigger house," right? But a lot of times they're going to say, "I wish we could buy a bigger house. We're probably 3 years away from being able to afford one." Right? So this is when you'll see that you're in rapport, because they're going to share with you, right? They breathe a sigh, they lean in, they share, they connect. Maybe they ask you a question about real estate. You then go into the 5 basic questions of real estate. And this is where you go from following to leading. So you might answer with, "Yes, a lot of people in this market are waiting, and yet right now is truly an incredible time to buy." And then you can say, "Where do you live now? How long have you lived there? How did you choose that location? If you were to move in 3 years, where would you go next? And when would that be?" Right? If they didn't already tell you 3 years, you might just say, "If you were to move, where would you go next? And how are you keeping up with the changes in the market?" I always tell Kara, those are the 5 basic questions that no one should get a real estate license without. If you don't know those 5 questions or a variation of those that automatically just pours out of you when you're speaking to people, then you're really in trouble. So anyways, ask questions, stay with them as they are, test the rapport. You can even test the rapport by breaking it a little bit. The way you know if you're in rapport is slow down from whatever rate they're doing, change it. If they're talking fast and you were talking fast, speed it up, slow it down, see if they follow you. If they don't, then you're not in rapport. Because what happens is you start out talking their speed, and when you're in rapport, they'll follow you, and that's when you take over on the lead-in versus following part. So, Kara?
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what, Ron? As always, a lot of people are asking for the questions, and we have on the screen. Write that down, Kara@caramel.com. After the call, email me, and we'll go ahead and send those out to you. And that'll be your little bonus lesson from today. And of course, the goal is to connect, that example that Ron gave, the goal is to connect and get them to do something right now, or to turn them into a data bank member who will stay connected with you until they are ready to make a move. That last question is what makes that part of the conversation possible. offer something, a monthly newsletter, a postcard, a market snapshot, all the great tools that are in command now, put them on the neighborhood snapshot smart plan. It's automated. Gary's built all this for us. So your job is to put people in there and maybe have a call with them 4 times a year. Whatever automated system that you're following will work when you work it. Get their home address so that you can utilize all the great tools that we have coming out via command. The bottom line is this: it hardly matters what you say. Yep, I said it. It hardly matters what you say. It actually matters more that you connect, create rapport, and then when people hear someone like them, all of their defenses go away and they let you take the lead. Do you see how applying this technique can significantly increase your ability to connect with people at a deeper level? We know we did this very quickly today. And the MAPS Language of Sales calls are a full hour, and we dig deep, and then you'll do some growth work that's going to reinforce each method between the weekly calls. And Language of Sales is a method of influencing brain behavior through the use of language. The utilization of language patterns in our teachings through Language of Sales is designed to move your listener forward, helping them to reach their goals and objectives. And again, their goals, not yours. Because Ron, what does Zig Ziglar say? He says, help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want. I really wanted to do that in my Zig voice too, by the way.
No,
I skipped it.
I was
though.
waiting for your Zig voice.
Let's look at some facts that have become useful in communication. You must become more effective in your use of language, causing your listener to choose you, to work with you, to hire you, to join your team. You get the point. You can continue to just connect with the limited number of people who communicate exactly like you, or you can choose today to master your language skills, which will, of course, allow you to increase your closed transactions, increase your market share, and the way we think about it, get to more yeses.
Right? Yeses are definitely the goal. So many of the top performers in our company and their teams, like Lance Loken, I spend a lot of time with Lance and Karina. They not only do they personally take Language of Sales over and over, but they have a whole system of making sure that their teams take it over and over. And just like it did for us, it raised their income. It lowered the number of contacts needed to get a yes, and you're in the yes business. So the question is, would you like to learn more techniques like this that will make a massive difference in your life? I was just wondering, what is the price you're paying for your current skill set? Earlier we talked about the potential lost business opportunity by not elevating your language skills, right? If you're meeting one person a day and you really need to meet 5 people a day to get to the same numbers, like what is it really costing you? It's massive. So the cost of your current skills or lack of Language of Sales skills is pretty much innumerable, right? The best communicators know that investing your time and resources in mastering your language skills is going to give you an enormous payoff. So take a moment to get clear on the calls you didn't make last year because you weren't sure of what to say. How many people did you bump into in line at a grocery store, something like that, that you decided to just not even engage or say anything because you were so uncomfortable? How many of you are right now nailing your lead gen time? How many of you have a listing you didn't get this year, or maybe a listing you did get, but it didn't sell and you just weren't great at the price reduction conversation, right? Or if you've been working for a while with a buyer and you haven't figured out how to get them to take action. So instinctively, you're already beginning to understand the need, right, to take advantage of the opportunity to increase your sales skills through the mastery of language. So there's a price that you're going to pay to participate, right? This is the price part of this conversation. And, the price is $396 for the 12-week course. It's intense training intuitively you know that you're already paying a far greater price than $400 for the leads you didn't convert and the listings you didn't take. So what questions do you have? Before we go into a little further, we'll give you a little bit more and then give you the code. What questions do you have for us?
You know, Ron, while they're taking a moment to type in any questions, you know, it always strikes me at this point when we're having this conversation every time we're getting ready to launch. And by the way, guys, this is the first time we're launching. This is only our second launch this year of the live calls, and it's going to be a lab, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But what's amazing is that we just talked about how if you added, you know, 5 more transactions because you added one person a week new to your database, that would give you 25,000 if your average commission was 5,000, and yet people get hung up on it's you know, $396. I never understand that logic. I would invest $396 and a little bit of elbow grease to get back 25,000. I'd take that bet all day long. So while we're waiting for any questions to come in, I'm going to ask the participants of the call to bet on you. Bet on yourself. Bet on the fact that in the 12 sessions, you're going to pick up some techniques that you're going to be able to use that are going to be able to convert more closings and help you live the life you want. Yeah.
So someone asked, when are the calls? They're Wednesdays from 1 till 2.
Yeah.
So that's when the calls will be. And someone else asked, you know, although this is real estate based, it's generally creating an opportunity for anyone who's commission based. I would say it's generally it's creating an opportunity for anybody who's going to be speaking with anybody. So like on my team, it's weaved into every single script that we teach the people on our team. Every agent, every transaction coordinator, showing agents. I mean, even the guy who does the, you know, puts up our signs and stuff. He's in the meetings when we're talking about language of sales. It's going to be Wednesdays at 1. Someone asked, it's Central Time. It's Central Time. And, you know,
they're going to be live, right?
Right. The calls are live, and you'll get a recording of the calls, because I know some areas you might have a conflict with something else, with Bold 2.0, or with, you know, maybe your team's office meetings once in a while or anything like that. You know, going through the recording afterwards is great. Truthfully, I love it when people are there for the live class and then go through the recordings also. That's how you'll get the very most out of it, is literally taking every class twice.
You know why you love that, Ron?
Questions?
Because I know that's what you used to do. I know you used to, you would take it live and then you would review it during the week the same way I did, because that's how you
remember
really
the
learn.
dollar,
you know,
remember the dollar per
go
hour
ahead.
that I was talking about? So, okay, again, I'm not saying my mind works like anyone else's, but here's how I looked at it. I paid, and it was the same thing. It was about $400 for the class, and or it was actually about $130 a month. Anyways, whatever it was, I figured every time that I listened to it afterwards, I cut my expense by that amount. So if I listened to it twice, I paid half as much. If I listened to it 3 times, I paid a third, because I was taking the class 2 more times for free. So I'm not saying that's a normal way to have your mind work, but that's the way I looked at it, because I just kept doing it over and over, and I kept listening to the classes over and over.
Exactly. You know, Ron, someone asked, is this connected somehow to the Bold 2.0? And my answer to that would be yes and no. We're both KW MAPS programs, and Bold is an all-encompassing and touches on a lot of the different programs that we have. And yet, if you really want to master your skills as far as language goes, language of sales is the class. It would be the difference between water skiing and scuba diving. If you wanted to see fish, which is going to allow you to see more fish? Scuba diving, right? Ron, anything you'd want to add to that?
Yeah, just, you know, it's funny. I was just in Catalina with my family, and Trent and I went scuba diving. Yeah, it's just great, because like I always think about this example. We're putting on the scuba gear, and we went to the same area. There, you just walk off the shore, and you can snorkel and scuba in the exact same area. And we actually did both. We scubaed in the morning or snorkeled in the morning. Then we went with a professional guy and scubaed in the afternoon. And it was like a completely different place, seeing it from the surface and seeing it from below and, swimming through the kelp and everything, right? Completely different. There were fish down there that you never saw from the surface. There was things going on down there you never saw from the surface. This is the same thing. You want to go deep. It's very much tied to bold. There's a reason some, KW fast tracks are being expanded and some aren't. And it's because it is, Gary knows and believes that this is key to all of our success, how we communicate, and doesn't want you to work one more hour than you ever have to the rest of your life, and getting great at scripts and dialogues and how to deliver them, and then have it become natural where you don't even need the scripts anymore because you're so good at getting rapport, it doesn't even matter what comes out of your mouth. So there's a big advantage to doing it the right way.
It's true. And people are asking again, when does it start and how long do they have access to the recorded sessions? We launch live next week, a week from today, same bat time, same bat channel. And I probably just dated myself there with my Batman reference. And yet it starts next week for 12 weeks. We'll be done by the end of the year. We finish up right before the holidays. And then how long do you have to access them afterwards? I believe it's 90 days after the end of the class. So if you need to go back and review anything,
Kara,
or if you fall behind. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Jasmine. Yay, Jasmine, 60 days afterwards. So that's what you have. So if you fall behind, you have access to that information. So here's what's really exciting. We're going to invite you, Ron and I, are personally inviting you to join us in the next session of MAPS Language of Sales. It's actually going to be the Language of Sales Lab. Ron and I were sitting around because, again, he mentioned that there are actually quite a few of the group coaching programs that are going away, and Gary has handpicked the ones that he wants to stay. And we were looking to update it. And we started thinking, well, how do we update this? And we thought, well, why don't we ask the people who are in the class, who have taken it in the past? So beginning 1 week from today, we're going to be diving into the Language of Sales coursework. We're going to be teaching the class. We're going to be gathering your feedback on a weekly basis. We want your feedback about what you like and maybe what you don't. What's difficult to understand, where maybe we need to dive in more, or where we need to spend more time, or maybe where we need to spend less time, and so much more. Your feedback is going to be critical. Next Wednesday, 1 week from today, 9:25, our sessions are live at 1 Central. And again, as we said, they're going to be recorded. You can also review the sessions over and over. We're going to have a private Facebook group like we always do. This one will be closed for the Language of Sales Lab participants only. And Ron, why don't you tell them the really cool news?
All right. So it's all really cool news. The fun thing is,
the even cooler, coolest news.
If you're a participant today, we're giving you the secret code to knock 15% off the price. So not only do you get the full hardcore amazing Language of Sales course, you get to help lab it so that we revamp it and make it even better for the next go around. You're going to get 15% off. So here's the secret code, because I don't think we're going to repeat it over and over and over. I think we're just going to give it to you, and you better write it down real quick. The secret code is LOSLAB. So you go to MAPS Language of Sales, mapslos.com. When it asks you for the code, you put in LOSLAB, and you'll get 15% off. It just as a thank you for taking the course, and as a thank you for helping us make it better for the thousands of agents who are going to take it after you do. So we appreciate you all being here today. Jasmine, is there anything else that you wanted to add in?
Nope, I think that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We appreciate you all. Go sell lots of real estate and come play with us starting next week, Wednesday at 1 Central. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Take care.